Live from Manchester Morgue mostly contains spoilers. Mostly.
This is not a dream. We are using your preferred podcast provider as a receiver.
Hello my friends, and welcome to a special episode of Live from Manchester Morgue, in that we have dug something up from our archives to release because we haven't recorded an episode in the last week. The weather in Manchester and England generally is quite unseasonably hot at the moment, which is making recording a little bit difficult. We are in a morgue, there's no air, it stinks. We can't open the windows because this is true, you can look this up. There's currently a wildfire raging outside the city. Some people let off some fireworks at a nature reserve, and because of the prolonged heat, there's loads and loads of stuff burning, basically. Grass, trees, animals, I presume. It's all very sad. But the end result is we can't open the windows at the moment because the air quality is taking a big dive. So we just wanted to let you know that we are okay. Ken is fine, aren't you, Ken? Yes, Gary. See, Ken's fine, as you can tell. The cats are fine. We're all fine. Just wanted to check in and throw something out there so that you didn't lose interest in us, because you're a fickle bunch. Anyway, so from the archives, you may or may not have listened to this episode last year. We were lucky enough to get to cover some of Manchester's resident independent film festival, Grimfest. We've stripped that down a little bit to make it a more female-centered episode. We'll talk a little bit about a film called Frankie Maniac Woman and the Soska Sisters legendary American Mary, plus an interview with Frankie director Pierre Tsigaridis. So I hope you enjoy it. We'll be back next week with a regular episode, and normal service will be resumed shortly. Take care for now. So, about American Mary. American Mary, I think, is just an important horror film.
It really is. And I realised something when I was rewatching it and taking my notes. It predates Revenge, Corley Fajar's Revenge.
It does.
By about 5 years. Mm-hmm. And that film, you know, quite rightly is recognised as a revolutionary film in the depiction of rape and the aftermath of rape, because previously in horror cinema, rape was often kind of, it's just used as like a narrative, shock value. You always see the rape in a very graphic manner, and then, I mean, think of I Spit on Your Grave. It's an iconic horror film, but it's incredibly exploitative. And you know what? You get to a certain age as a horror fan, especially if you grew up in like the 80s, and you're like, I don't want to see women getting raped anymore. I don't want to see men getting raped. I don't want to see anyone getting raped.
I mean, I'd argue that you probably never wanted to see that happen. But I mean, it gets to a point where you're like, okay, again. Why is this in it again? It doesn't need to be in a horror film every fucking time.
Exactly. And I think Corley Fajar's Revenge was maybe the catalyst that caught that, and kind of the Me Too movement and all that stuff, kind of Hollywood kind of dialed back on the, let's think about the aftermath, but 5 years before that, the Soskas did it with American Mary. It's not, we don't really see what really happens to Mary in any sort of graphic way. We only see the aftermath.
No, it's shot in a similar way to the one in Revenge, isn't it? Where you kind of, it lingers on their faces, I think. And I mean, you can see what's happening, but it's not, there's no nudity or
I can only assume, being a man, that it's a female, like, POV, like it's a female depiction of that experience. But it's not, we don't linger on the act itself. The whole, the wraparound is, so American Mary's promising med student Mary, played by the legendary Catherine Isabel. The role was apparently written for her. I think the Oscars wrote it for her.
Oh, right. Cool.
She's invited to a party with a bunch of doctors. You can guess what happens. But instead of kind of the film being about her, I mean, it is to an extent, but instead of the film being about her trauma, it's about how she kind of turns it around on
Yeah, and it becomes kind of empowered by it.
Yeah.
It's difficult. I mean, it's not a new film by any means, but also I don't want to spoil it. However, as we say in every episode, if we're talking about a film, probably watch it first before you listen to us banging on about
Pause,
it.
watch.
Watch, come back. Yeah. But yeah, she takes spectacular revenge on the perpetrator of this heinous act.
Spectacular and extended revenge.
Yeah, it doesn't end anytime soon. It's an extreme horror for all intents and purposes. It was massively inspired by Hellraiser.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, you can see that in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a few things I clocked when I rewatched this the other night, just because I knew we were going to talk about it. So we've got Catherine Isabel, Tristan Risk, who's in many of their films. She plays Beatrice, who essentially has had surgery to look like Betty Boop.
Yeah.
And talks like Betty Boop.
Yeah.
And is a great character. Very, very funny. Mary Mason is Mary's name, which is alliterative.
Yeah, it's like
Peter Parker.
Like a superhero name, yeah.
Yeah, well, the big comic book fans, they've written Black Widow, and they wrote a story in the Avengers Halloween special, which I've got a copy of somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Have I got a DC one recently that the Soskas have done?
I don't know.
Can't remember.
Well, I know that they're writing for the Rippaverse, which is something they're involved with now, which is a comic company. I've not read any of it, but that's what they're doing right now.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, they wrote... Well, actually, weirdly, I kind of bottled it. I had a ticket to go and see Rabid when it came out at Grimfest, which I didn't do. I was meant to go with a friend, and my friend bailed, and then I kind of didn't want to go by myself because it was a big deal of like meeting Jen and Sylvia Soska.
Yeah,
like,
you don't want to be a weird loser on your
No,
own, do
I
you?
felt weird about it, so I didn't go, but I pre-bought issue 1 of their Black Widow comic and the Avengers Halloween special because I was going to ask them to sign it. So I got the Black Widow one from my kid and I was going to keep the Halloween one. I still got the comics, but I didn't meet them, so I didn't get them to sign it. So ladies, if you're ever in town in Manchester, UK again, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also noticed, I don't know whether I assume this was intentional. After the act has happened to Mary, she wanders into her apartment in a daze, clearly traumatized. And the music that plays reminded me of when Selena Kyle walks into Batman Returns. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be intentional by them as comic fans, right?
Yeah.
And then she chucks all the shit off the table, as obviously Selena starts trashing things. And
yeah, that's a good pull. That's cool.
I'm sure that was intentional, but I didn't pick up on it the first time around.
I really like the body modification stuff in this. So I think a lot of it was inspired, or they were inspired to kind of write this after kind of stumbling into the body modification.
I believe it was praised for being quite accurate in a lot of ways.
So they used the body mod community as consultants, and a lot of the people in the film, there's great special effects of which the community informed on, but a lot of the people in the film as well are actual, like, not special effects there.
Yeah, well, actually, I think this guy, Tristan Risk's partner, he's called Burns the Dragon. He's like a performer.
Yeah.
I think he's the guy in it with the split tongue, and he's got like...
The bumps.
The bumps, yeah, like horns, the dermal implants to create a horn effect. Yeah, yeah. In the film, he's the guy who has ruined his cock after surgery by wanking.
Oh.
About that, Burns. Hey. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you're right. I believe that I don't know how many other people in that were involved in that, in the real world side of that things, but it certainly was part of it.
Yeah, and you feel that, like, it's always, and I think to an extent you only really get this in horror, exploring these kind of other worlds that these alternative worlds that in reality we would kind of think is a bit skeezy, a bit weird, but then the Soskas present it as there's just a community of people. It's kind of like Nightbreed.
Yeah, actually that's a great shout. Yeah.
In that, like, yeah, they're monsters, but I'm not saying body mod people are monsters.
No.
But in Nightbreed, the premise is they are this outcast demographic.
Very misunderstood.
Yeah, very misunderstood. And the thing that I like about Nightbreed, which I also like about American Mary, is they're taken on their own terms. And when he goes into Meridian, yeah, they are kind of monsters because they're eating people and they're doing horrible things and they look horrible. But it doesn't mean they're evil. It doesn't mean like they're bad.
No, I agree.
But like in American Mary, you enter into this world, and it's not fetishized and it's not kind of twisted. It's just this is it. These people.
Yeah, and I think it's relatable for that reason as well. If you've ever been into any kind of alternatives you've seen in your life, whether it's music, like if you're a metalhead, or you like horror films, because people are vilified for liking horror films all the time. It gets demonized in the press. If you're a video game player, I mean, how often does that get blamed for anything?
Yeah.
And for the most part, it's just communities of people wanting to, meet other like-minded people. No one's a bother to anyone.
Yeah. And it's interesting that I think the key part about American Mary's narrative is after this act, obviously she can't practice medicine anymore. So she does kind of under the table work for this community. So she kind of, not she retreats, but she goes into under the wing of this kind of alternative, which is what we often do.
Yeah.
We drift to the people that can kind of help us get past whatever.
Yeah. I noticed as well, there's a bit where Mary she's doing some surgery and she's got like a red surgical robe on, like Dead Ringers.
Yeah.
Which they also did in Rabid, because they're obviously, Rabid's a David Cronenberg film.
Yeah,
and they're big David Cronenberg fans.
All of their films are body horror in a way.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's
even See No Evil 2, starring WWE's Kane.
Yeah, Glenn Jacobs himself.
Yeah, don't call him Glenn Jacobs.
That's his name. Yeah, he's a mayor now. He doesn't chokeslam people anymore.
I bet he does.
Yeah. I think he did. You know what? I'm sure I saw a video of him doing that in his mayor suit at some point.
He still looks great.
He chokeslam someone through a table or something. Yeah. Oh yeah, he does that Diamond Dallas Page yoga thing.
Diamond Dallas Page yoga thing.
You know, Diamond Dallas Page is the wrestler, right? Yeah, for years he's been getting all the wrestlers whose bodies have had it a bit with years of taking bumps, and he kind of sorts them all out with his yoga retreat.
Whoa.
Yeah, he gets people bodies working again. And I believe, I'm sure I saw something on social media recently where, all right, Kane, not Glenn Jacobs, was looking great at 50 odd because he's been working out and watching his carbs with DDP. Working out with DDP. Yeah, it's DDP. Yeah,
I hate everyone copied that. RVD copied that as well. Anyway, have you ever read The Nail by Steve Niles?
No.
So, is it Steve Niles? Oh, I think it's a collaboration between Steve Niles and Rob Zombie, and it's called The Nail. And it's basically about a big muscly wrestler, rocker, metal dude.
Nice.
Versus a bunch of like a demonic cult of like monsters. And the guy...
His wrestling name is The Nail.
He's called The Nail, yeah.
Cool.
And he's based on his inspiration is Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh, wow.
Because Diamond Dallas Page is in a couple of Rob Zombie films.
Is he?
Yeah.
I think he is, yeah. I think I remember that deep in the dark recess of my mind somewhere.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that sums it up for American Mary for me.
Yeah, we wanted to make this brief because it's a jam-packed episode.
Yeah, we've got the interviews alone for this big episode are going to be like an hour and a half, and we know people get bored of listening to us talk at the best of times.
Yeah.
So
I did have one thing.
I beg your pardon.
Catherine Isabel, a bit of trivia. Catherine Isabel, in true method style, did medical studies for the role.
Did she?
She even managed to suture a chicken.
Apparently. Did she? Which actually she does in the film. Well, turkeys, isn't it?
Yeah.
So she didn't actually body mod any individuals.
No, I mean we think so.
Well, I mean she might, and we might just not know. Yeah. So Catherine Isabel, if you're listening to this, let us know if you've ever done any body modification surgery on any human beings. Thanks.
Yeah.
So
my point from this is basically American Mary walked so revenge could run.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah. I mean, I think I love them both. I own them both. But yeah, I think there's something about American Mary, I guess, being a horror guy and the fact that it's so obviously influenced by Hellraiser, the way it goes is closer to my heart than Revenge. But Revenge is fucking excellent either way.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to tell you how good Coralie Fajar is because, I mean, everyone has seen The Substance now.
Everyone on the planet has seen The Substance.
On the planet. So, right, if you like The Substance, go and watch Revenge, her film before that, and go and watch American Mary because it's fucking great.
Yeah.
Right, so another film that we were particularly excited to see, and we managed to get a screener for, was called Frankie Maniac Woman. Which was written and directed by Pierre Tsigaridis. And we talked to Pierre about the film. We loved it. It's a bit. How did we describe it in the interview?
It's like it's a throwback, but it's kind of, I think all of the films that we watched were kind of a subversion of like previous kind of genre kind of tropes and stuff, which always sounds arsey when you say stuff like that. But yeah, it's like a grindhouse slasher film, but it's about the current climate of body image and
there's a bit of internalized misogyny in there.
Internalized misogyny, yes, and the celebrity and kind of it's based in the LA music scene.
Yeah. And it's done in kind of a Trauma-esque kind of way, I would say.
Trauma, that's a good shout.
It reminded me of a Trauma movie. I want to watch that. So yeah, give that a watch. Frankie Maniac Woman, and here is our interview with Pierre. For our coverage of this year's Grimfest, we were lucky enough to be able to get a sneak preview of a really cool movie called Frankie Maniac Woman, which is showing on the Friday night, 10th of October at 10:35 p.m. The synopsis from the website reads, battling against the legacy of childhood trauma, internalized misogyny, and the image-obsessed fat-shaming of the LA music business, aspiring singer-songwriter Frankie Ramirez finally snaps with bloody results. And we're even luckier now to welcome director of Frankie Maniac Woman, Pierre Tsigaridis. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me.
Did I get your name right? Did I pronounce your surname correctly?
You did.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yep. You got it right the first time.
Cool. I'd say welcome to the show. We're really thrilled to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so this is this is not your first time at Grimfest, am I correct?
This is my third time.
So you're an honorary Manc, honorary Mancunian.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I'm excited.
Yeah, because Traumatic You was on last year, wasn't it?
It was, but I couldn't make the trip. I'm making the trip this year, though.
Oh, nice.
And I had gone for Two Witches back in 2021.
Yes. Well, if you get a chance while you're here,
what?
Go on, guys.
If you get a chance while you're here, you should check out the Manchester Museum. It has real mummies in it from Egypt.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
very cool.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah, I may. You know what? I may, because I'm staying like I think 4 days. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely worth a visit. It's a really cool place to go.
Do you enjoy your trips to Northern England?
The first time, yeah, I loved it. It was great. Surprisingly, we had good weather. I don't know about this year. We'll see. But yeah, I had a good time. Like Grimfest had welcomed me so well, and I think the response at the time for Two Witches had been like so positive that the movie really had engaged with the audience, and we even had one best scare. So,
oh wow,
yeah. So no, and I mean Grimfest is like, honestly, Simeon is one of the biggest supporters of my work. So I'm so happy to be there and represent. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Let's talk about Frankie. So yeah, really great film. It's an incredibly kind of subversive film, which has kind of one foot in the kind of scuzzy 70s slasher genre and one foot in very kind of modern conversations on the superficiality of everything, really. It's an update and expansion of your short I Who Have No One. And in the intervening years between when you made the short and now, social media has further distorted kind of the global body image and the physical expectations of celebrity. Is that why you wanted to revisit this concept?
Yeah. Well, so it's exactly. I think Dina and I we wanted to make a horror film so badly back in 2017, and basically the how everything really came to be was um, she loved horror. I tell everyone like I hadn't moved to LA to make horror films, so we just wanted to make horror films, and I wanted to make a horror film. We didn't know what to do. We didn't have any other cast at the time. And she was like, I would love to just be a killer because, like sometimes I have some stuff on my chest and that it would be very cool to be a serial killer. And I was like, you know what? We don't have any cast or anything else right now. So how about we make you the villain and the main person? The protagonist and the villain. It's also kind of a recurring theme event that happened eventually in my work. I kind of like that. So at the time we worked with what we had, like our life experiences, and then we put out I Have No One that was on Alter. Um, we had developed so much more that we felt a little almost like it felt like the movie was finished, and I think it was really well received by the people from Alter and etc. But we felt like we had not said everything, and so we had the whole story from like the desert scene at the end to the music producer scene. All of that was actually already fleshed out ideas that we had back in 2017 or 18. So we felt like we had put out only just like a small part of the original idea. And like you said, then Instagram and social media and then TikTok getting even bigger and bigger, that we were, I was doing other things, she was doing other things, but we had in the background, we had like, oh, Frankie is not dead. She's still alive in our mind. We need to get her back. So we really wanted to, whenever we could, add some things to Frankie's story. It was a story that was really dear to us, and in fact, I think it's my best work in terms of writing. And I think Dina will agree because it's a character that's been living in our heads for so long, over such a long period of time, that then we would tweak things as we would just evolve as people, as over the years. We would be
Very organically.
Yeah, we would just add flesh to the skeleton of Frankie, and I think that's why we're personally really proud of the film, because we eventually think we have a really, character that's developed that goes from point A to point B in her life, and it's kind of meta in that sense that that's how we were doing it in real life. Also, just to answer this long question, online we had so many, like 900, I think there's been like I think 900 comments on the YouTube link, and so many of those comments, like 30 to 40% of those comments sometimes would be like, I want more from her, can this be a feature please, is it going to be, there really was, and still to this day, I mean, sometimes I would even screenshot those comments, because I would be like, whenever we would be slacking, I'd be like, look, there's actually a lot of people that want to see more of this character, and everybody would be like, this is just like a premise of a character that needs to be on a big screen. And the last thing is, we had put out the movie during COVID, where we wanted to have dreamed of watching it just on a big screen, have it shared with the world. The whole festival run was blocked. We couldn't get anything. So we actually really, really missed out on connecting with the audience, and it just ended up on YouTube. But the short was kind of long, too long for a short, not long enough for a feature, right? So it was like kind of like this weird format that not that many people actually would click to watch. So we were like, we need Frankie to connect with an audience, and we haven't had the true opportunity. So now that I make movies, I had to make Two Witches, make Traumatic, I was like, Frankie needs to come out, and he needs to, be presented to the world, and we'll see what happens. And I'm so happy Grimfest is, introducing people to Frankie.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Can I just say at this point as well that Dean is an absolute force of nature.
I
hadn't seen the short. This was my introduction to her when I watched this movie, and I was like, "Holy shit, she's incredible!"
Yeah,
thank you.
it's a real. Sorry, go on. Yeah,
No, she's a fearless actress. She's like
Yeah.
she's Dina and I have such a strong connection because basically before doing the horror short, we really wanted to make horror, but we had at the time so many limitations. I had just moved to LA. We didn't, I had to work a lot on like shoots, and it was really difficult to come up with something, so we started doing just like a comedy web series that we actually never put out, but we're really proud of it. We will eventually put it out on YouTube just now, I think. But we had done a lot of things together. Like we had put a lot of hours together, just together, because it was like a one woman show, and me, I would do all the camera work and directing and editing. And so we had put out so many hundreds of hours, just the two of us together. And then when it came to do Frankie, now she's like so committed. She's so, like I said, she's fearless. She's like the most dedicated actor I've ever worked with. And also her being the co-writer, I think she took, for me as if I look at the experience as a filmmaker, she took everything about acting a notch further, in my opinion. And she's a powerhouse. She's extremely talented. She's fearless. She's so committed. She does her own stunts. She's not afraid to get hurt, to get dirty, to do it as many times as it needs to be done. And so her being like that, I was really able to push her insane amounts. And I think what we got is so raw that I think she really, really deserves to be, discovered, because her dedication is insane.
What was it? So that brings me to another one of my questions. What was it like? Yeah, her performance is fantastic, and I think I might return to that shortly. But what was it like, kind of directing Dina, but also kind of you're directing Frankie in front of the camera as well? Like,
yeah.
That's a bit of a schizophrenic experience.
It is. Well, you know what? You guys should have Dina on the podcast. She would probably tell you even more. But because Dina is there's some actors that are very they can deliver a certain standard of performance like on the fly without anything, and then you do one take and they'll give you this, and then you do another take and you direct them and they'll just do something else, but very, very, very similar. But you can really easily anticipate what this actor is going to give you. So it's really good. It saves you time, but yet it's very, the creative process is like almost locked in before you even start shooting, because you rehearse or you talked about it and you know that this actor does this and it's really good, but that's what it is. Dina, it's not like that. Dina, it's like she comes in, she does something, it's good, but then she does something else and it's good, but it's completely different, has nothing to do with the first take, and then you end up doing sometimes like 17, 18 takes, because every time it just builds and it builds and it builds. And so it's I don't know, it's kind of like method. It's kind of like she needs to get somewhere that at the 17th take, it's no longer Dina at all. Where, like I said, with a really, like some other actors that have different methods, they could be still themselves, but they're just so good at controlling their skills that they're just doing the performance and then they switch. Dina was not like that. Dina was like, she's becoming Frankie, and then take 17, like she's Frankie. You know what I mean? And she would tell me sometimes it would be difficult because she would have to play this person with very violent thoughts, and then she would be in her everyday life and someone would piss her off and she would be like, oh my God, Frankie would fucking murder that person. You know what I mean? But again, it's a very personal film for her also. Not that she's a psychopath, obviously she's not, but she would definitely channel some past experience. That's why it's a very personal and also maybe controversial movie, or sensitive movie for sure, because she would definitely use a lot of things from her own experience to just, she would say, like, we would like to joke, Frankie is just like her it's like the Mr. Hyde and she's Dr. Jekyll, like it's like the ugly alter ego that's like that can come out maybe on a dark day.
Yeah, the desert monologue in particular is very raw.
Yeah.
That was a great scene.
And you know what? So the desert monologue is definitely the thing that I'm the most proud of. And it's not something we did that. We were just with her brother who was helping with sound. It was just the three of us. There was a big storm coming, like a freaking big storm for real. And we didn't have a lot of time. It was supposed to be in the summer, but it was actually in winter in California, because to get those big storms and those like gloomy skies, it has to be like more like winter. So it was actually freezing. It was freezing. It was probably like, I don't know, like 6 degrees Celsius, something like that. Yeah. I was trying not to get the smoke out of her face, so I was trying to stay far so the camera would not pick it up. And she did something. It's pretty much one take, and then we moved on, and we didn't realize. I mean, I realized she didn't realize anything, and then we went back home, got caught in that huge storm, and then I called her and I said, "You did, in my opinion, the best performance of your life," and she had no idea, because we were so stressed out. She was like, "I'm Frankie, let's just go, let's do it, let's not." There was not any in and out of things. It was more like, "I'm Frankie, and this is it, and this is what." And then we switched to my coverage. So then she did pretty much one thing, and then we got out. It was like really fast, and she didn't realize. And then the next day, I was like, "Dina, do you remember what you did yesterday?" And she was like, "I have no clue." It was kind of a blur, and yeah, that's how raw it is. It's completely like something that's came out of her. We didn't block anything. It feels really European in that sense, that I really like, because I was just following and I was pulling my own focus, and I was just praying I don't fuck up, because I knew she was going somewhere. Like, she was taking it further than anything.
Yeah, it's a brilliant scene. It's very much it's the turning point of the film in many ways, without going into spoiler territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we spoke a lot about Dina. She's amazing in the film, but obviously your directing is also fantastic. There's a real kind of, and I only mean this complimentary. There's a real kind of grimy exploitation feel to this. I'm thinking it was reminding me of Abel Ferrara, William Lustig, Frank Henenlotter. Like, were they some of the influences? What were some of the influences on Frankie Maniac Woman?
Well, so it's funny you say that, because initially, back in 2017, when we started doing I Have No One, I said, let's do, and that's why I even put it in the title eventually. I was like, love Maniac, the Bill Lustig movie. It was like, let's make the female Maniac, the female version. Because that was like, we were really both drawn to that, like that 80s or really like grainy, dirty serial killer movie that was like over the top in the gore, and so that was like one of the big influences. I wanted to do some. It's funny because initially we had a lot of 80s in mind, but then as like we developed the thing, we went a lot more 70s.
Yeah,
mainly because we wanted, like, Dina's a singer, right, and she loves like the soul and like funky things, like funk stuff, and then the sounds quickly became more 70s in terms of the music. So then subconsciously then we went more with the 70s. I think, well, all of my movies have been kind of like homage to like exploitation films. I think it's the movies that as a kid you were not allowed to see, and it's like those movies that would just draw so much curiosity, and and would be the movie that would be fearless, like you guys had the video nasties, right? In Friends, we didn't have, because I grew up in France, we didn't have that as much, but it was still very grotesque and kind of like hard to get. Not as hard as in England, I think, but making very, very low budget movies, because this movie is extremely low budget. We made it for really nothing. It's also kind of like a no-brainer for me to really go that route and express as much as a visual creativity, but within that limitation, because it can pay off better rather than if I'm trying to go for another aesthetic that would just require things I can't do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I wanted the desert. I wanted to feel it like kind of at the end, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know, I wanted to make it like big American low budget movie, basically big low budget movie for me as like a European who, you know, doesn't see the desert like the American desert like that. So yeah, so I just wanted, you know, I can't do a lot of camera movement because of like the things I have, so I always rely on zoom. So on this movie I was going to rely on some zooms as well. I Yeah, I don't know. I think things came really naturally, though. You know, it's not like I think everything that I was doing felt appropriate for the story, because I think the story is um, it uses so many tropes of the past. You know, the mask, the slasher, but it's not the way it's constructed. It's not constructed like a slasher film, but the visuals are very slasher. You know, the like I said, the kills are very like yeah, the all those movies of the past. So yeah, I don't
I
know.
think uh, you go into, I think that after the desert as well, it almost gets. It reminded me of Gaspar Noé's climax. It gets very almost psychedelic as Frankie's
Oh,
going
thank you.
through
Yeah.
this. Frankie's going through this. It might be a redemption, but then it turns out that these other women maybe aren't the answer, and it gets kind of kaleidoscopic, and so it kind of moves away from the slasher
Yeah,
vibe. So and
completely.
I think I was just going to ask you, like, did you find it difficult to balance the tones because it holds together really well?
Oh, thank you. Well, I think that's going to be some people are not going to necessarily like that. I always like, whether it's for two witches or traumatic, I always like to take the audience somewhere else and have them not expect what they're going to see. And I think the desert scene is, like I said, the tipping point that it just goes somewhere else. And you're like, at this point, I don't really know where it's going. Um, Also, I think it, like you said, it's maybe more drama comedy with a very violent undertone that reminds you of Gaspar Noé, which I'm a huge fan of Gaspar Noé. So just the fact that you mentioned it, it's like, um, but I think compared to my other two films, the way I take people to another place, I think for this film is actually my best attempt. I think personally. So hopefully people don't see it like as a negative thing. It is a shift. Um, I think it's also a shift in pacing, because the beginning is really, really, really like she kills from the moment she kills, then it's like really fast paced. Um, I wanted then to take the time. Basically, I wanted to then dive more into in my mind, I think it was better to dive into the deepest part of her psyche after all her kills than before. Because
Yeah,
after all the kills, this is where I would challenge the audience with empathy, with even making the audience kind of feel guilty that you kind of root for her after all the innocents she killed. You kind of like, I know, but now she's in the desert and I kind of want her to fuck shit up. You know what I mean? Uh, so that was, in a way, doing it in that order was making her more human. And I wanted to be fast at the beginning to catch someone's attention, and then we can go in the desert and be slower, now that we know who she is and we know what's at stake. We know how she's reacting, how she's been reacting to tension and things in her life when she doesn't like things. And now you see this other chunk of her story with these women, and you're like, oh my god, now what? You know, she's a full-fledged serial killer, and now she's put in those situations. Like, it's, I think the drama, the narrative plot, I think, was even though there's maybe less violent, the narrative plot heightens, you know?
Yeah, it's quite. I wasn't expecting that structural shift. I really appreciated how we do. I mean, I love a good time skip anyway, and I really appreciated how you think it's going to be this origin story of this killer, and then we kind of cut to later, and she's had all these kills, and now it's time to focus on how she heals, how she maybe goes the other way. Yeah, really, really good, really unexpected.
Well, thank you. And I mean, I still try to, you know, throw some big murders at the end.
Oh, yeah.
It's the end. You know, I think that's the one thing about that is like, not that I want to spoil too much, but, you know, she's a serial killer. She's interacting with a lot of people. You know, I think the audience has like this kind of like, I hope, satisfying anticipation of the tension. Like, okay, now she's doing mushrooms. Now they're, you know, picking on her and disrespecting her. What could happen? She's been killing people for like 40 minutes, you know. I think that's hopefully the ending is satisfying, at least in the gore and the kills and the visuals about that. Hopefully, yeah.
Well, we think it certainly is, and hopefully the Grimfest audience will as well.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I'm done with my initial questions. I did want to. I always like to add a little potential sneak peek if we can get it out of our guests. What is next for you, Pierre?
Oh, I don't know yet. I don't know. I have like, Max and I, my executive producer for Two Witches, we've been wanting to expand the sequel of Two Witches. We have so much witch stuff for the universe, so we would love to develop that. I've been writing some other scripts, so I have some stuff in my drawer. Like I like to say, you know, Frankie can always come back. If people connect with her, she'd be more than happy to come back. You know, so I actually have a lot of ideas.
I think the best slashers always do, don't they?
Yeah. Exactly. We have a lot of ideas for Frankie that could, you know, take everything up a notch and take, again, people super off guard and take them to, you know, places that they wouldn't think Frankie would go. So yeah.
The best thing about Frankie is that the reason that she does what she does, potentially the persecution of women and body image and stuff, that's not going away.
So it's not going anywhere.
We need Frankie. We need Frankie.
Yeah.
The world needs Frankie, yeah.
Pierre, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, really happy to have you on, and really enjoyed the movie. Looking forward to see what you come with next.
Thank you so much, guys.
We hope to see you at Grimfest if we attend on.
We'll be around, so maybe we'll both.
Okay, yeah. If we see each other for sure, Dina will be there too. So we'd love to have a chat or a beer or something.
Oh, cool, fantastic!
Yeah, all right, awesome. All right.
Okay,
Well, take care, man.
Guys.
Speak to you soon.
See you, Pierre. Thank you.
And that was Pierre Tsigaridis. So.
Live from Manchester Morgue is an independent horror movie podcast, researched, written, produced and hosted by Gary Hames and Ken Talbot. New episodes air every 2 weeks on Spotify, Apple, YouTube and all major podcast providers. You can help us grow by leaving a rating or sharing the show with like-minded friends. If you want to get in touch, you can leave us a comment or email us at killertunes976@gmail.com.